2022 was a year where shooters and hunters faced the bird flu crisis, a terrifyingly anti-shooting and anti-hunting Tory government, a war and the loss of Her Majesty the Queen. Despite this, we saw victories, and we have won battle after battle against those who want to close down field sports. Shooters in Devon and Cornwall were at the sharp end when it came to losing their firearms licences and guns. As a backlash against the shooting in Plymouth last year, overzealous police forces sent armed officers to the homes of ordinary shooters to seize guns.
So, under Section 46 of the Firearms Act, we are able to come into the property to recover those firearms if they believe you pose a danger.
We covered many of the individual cases, including this case of a gun owner in Plymouth who refused to hand over his guns to police at his door. The dozens of stories we did on this had an effect. Devon and Cornwall police have given back guns and certificates, or are in the process of giving them back to all but one of the shooters we covered. And as a sign of the effect we have, Devon and Cornwall police are offering gun certificates to shooters in exchange for NDAs, promising that shooters won't talk to us. The fiasco in the gun licensing system and delays across the UK prompted BASC to call for the gun certificate system across England and Wales to be scrapped. Significant delays in processing applications has been recorded in different police forces. The average turnaround time is around 40 days in areas like Hertfordshire, but up to 178 days in Cumbria. BASC says the issues are hurting both the shooting community and the gun trade. It blames police failures for an 8% reduction in certificate holders over the last 2 years. This has led to a loss of 47,000 applicants and a loss of more than £100 million to the economy.
North Yorkshire, and they have no backlogs in terms of both renewals and grant applications. The question it begs is, if one force can achieve it, or when it's actually more than one, there are probably a dozen forces which have achieved that. Why can't the rest of the forces achieve that?
Barrister Nick Doherty wrote the Firearms Handbook with his wife Laura Sainsbury in August 2019.
Is there a risk that there could be another tragic incident? There isn't. Let's be realistic about this. There isn't a risk that there'll be another tragic incident. There will be more tragic incidents in the years to come.
Then there was Ukraine. Hunters and shooters found themselves on the front line when Russia invaded. We spoke to Taras Olyanek, who works for a gun shop in Kyiv.
By now they are gone. Our forces throw them away from Kyiv region, from Chernihiv region, from Sumy region, and that's fine because I don't hear explosions through my window anymore, at least not as much. But it's still not completely safe in Kyiv, but life is coming back.
Good news. Taras says his store is still open and his family have returned home. But the Russians are bombing the energy systems, so he only has electricity, water and heating for a few hours a day. Hunters also delivered aid to the refugees. Ukraine Equestrian Relief took 3 convoys of horse boxes loaded with aid to Poland and is planning a 4th trip in January 2023.
The biggest challenge has been logistics, getting people there, moving stuff around, picking up the stock and sorting it and taking it down there, the actual aid. The logistics of moving people around through borders away from the UK and also managing people and keeping us all on a route to a destination.
2022 was the year bird flu took hold. Dead birds washed up on British shores.
Anyone involved in the shooting world in any capacity obviously feels potentially threatened by this situation because it has the potential to reach out and affect almost anyone, really.
It stopped the import of eggs and poults from the big pheasant and partridge producing regions of France, and it hit some shoots during the season. Gamekeepers and scientists expect 2023 will be a better year, with much less of the disease.
It's hard to see how it could be worse than 2022, but then we said that about 2020. But there is no doubt that after everything we have learnt and experienced over the last couple of years, we are much better prepared to build a strong future for our sector.
The UK's anti-field sports government changed its leader twice in 2022. And out went Boris's animal rights chums, such as Lord Zach Goldsmith, sacked as DEFRA Minister. Friends of Carrie Johnson stayed. MP Henry Smith is still trying to bring in a trophy imports ban. Professor Adam Hart speaks up for hunting tourism. He's one of the few academics brave enough to support regulated trophy hunting. Science says it works for wildlife, but the professor's support for it draws abuse from anti-hunting academics.
I think if I was a bit younger and things were different, I was earlier in my career and stuff, it would probably affect me. I know for a fact that a number of academics won't speak out on social media because they don't want to get involved with that. And you know what? I respect that.
In Scotland, shooters and gamekeepers have been fighting the government to stop or at least amend the new hunting with dogs bill. Antis complained that their last law to ban hunting doesn't work, so they want a new one. Basque, the Countryside Alliance and the Kennel Club say the proposed legislation will threaten gun dogs and their use.
Pest control is going to be severely disrupted, so those hard to get areas that we tend to rough shoot in will go unchecked. You'll only be able to shoot over 2 dogs, and you have to make sure if there are more than 2 dogs in the beating line or on that shoot that they don't join together and form a pack. And it's not entirely clear what a pack is as well.
The Scottish Bill will become law in 2023. The Northern Irish face the threat of a bill to ban fox hunting in 2023 if the Northern Ireland Assembly convenes. We're in Dublin too, where the Wild Deer Association of Ireland is feeding venison to the hungry. 7,000 people in Ireland are homeless. 2,500 of them are children. The Wild Deer Association of Ireland is helping by feeding them hot food on the streets of Dublin. The venison burgers are a lifeline.
They love it really. Some people are really badly in need, and a warm meal, something, they get cold food here all the time, but when we supply the cooked venison, the cooked burgers for them, they love it.
In Wales, farmers are reacting with anger to a ban on magpie, jay and rook shooting and a season for crow shooting. We spoke to the UK's second favourite angry farmer, Gareth Wynne Jones, on his farm in North Wales.
We can keep nature, at its best by taking away some of the predators. And however we look at it, I think the magpie is one of the biggest predators we've got, and is, needs controlling.
Now a success, well, so far. Magnificent, majestic and massive, there are bluefin tuna in British waters, attracting anglers to one of the greatest big game fishing experiences in the world. Bluefin tuna migrate vast distances in shoals. They follow the food. In recent years, they've returned to the waters of the UK, especially here in Cornwall.
Right from the first take, when that reel screams, the adrenaline starts pumping. Heart starts going a bit faster, and then when that rod is taken from the gunnel, put into your harness and you're strapped to it, and you feel the full power of that fish. It really is the most amazing experience, and no other fish have I ever caught in the UK or around the world that can come close to the power of a bluefin tuna.
DEFRA allows sport fishing under its catch and release chart programme. In the last 2 years, anglers tagged more than 1,800 bluefin tuna in UK waters under chart. Unfortunately, DEFRA threw a spanner in the tuna works at the end of the year, indicating it would not renew the programme in 2023. The angling associations are still hopeful they can get a deal.
We are pushing for a recreational fishery, might just be a pilot fishery in the first place, as a lot of work needs to be done in the early part of 2023 to make that happen.
Watch this space and stay tuned to Fieldsports News. 2022 was the year that the world mourned Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, who died at Balmoral. She had a lifelong love of the countryside. From childhood she was immersed in shooting sports and had a particular affinity with horses and dogs.
She absolutely adored being out in the countryside. She adored being out with a dog. She was at home in the countryside.
Our new king maintains his devotion to the British countryside, as much a shooter and a deerstalker as his mother was a horsewoman. Thank goodness our royal family has its feet planted more firmly in the countryside than our politicians do. Merry Christmas from the Fieldsports News team. and have a happy 2023.